Hey, DC folks, Burgundy and Gold Nation. If you thought Adam Peters was done making big moves after bringing in Jaden Daniels, signing Marcus Mariota, building the most exciting roster we've seen in decades, you're absolutely out of your mind, because what's happened in these last preseason days is going to change everything for our Washington Commanders. And I, Marcus Commander Truth Rodriguez, am here with the most explosive information you're going to hear all day. We've got a veteran who just threw his NFL career out the window at the most crucial moment of his professional life. A quarterback who showed he's got nothing it takes to play in this elite league. And an Adam Peters decision that might be historic, revolutionary, and absolutely devastating for the future of this franchise. And I guarantee, I promise you right here, that after you hear these 3 explosive news pieces I've prepared, you'll understand exactly why the 2025 season will be different from anything we've seen in the last 30 years in Washington. Like this now, if you're part of this family, subscribe if you bleed Burgundy and Gold, and share this video because this information is pure dynamite every Commanders fan needs to know immediately. I'm going to tell you something that completely devastates me as a fan of this city where I've lived and breathed football for the last 35 years of my life. After decades of watching this team squander talent after talent, opportunity after opportunity, we thought we finally had experienced veterans who really understood what it means to wear burgundy and gold with pride and professionalism. But Chris Moore, this 31-year-old man who we thought would give us the stability and experience we desperately need, just proved me completely wrong. Do you remember when Moore came here after his stints with the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals? I think all of us, everyone who follows this team daily, thought this guy was going to bring us the veteran experience we desperately need in our receiver group. He'd been in winning organizations, played with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, seen how a playoff franchise works. During the first training camp workouts, this guy looked absolutely unstoppable. The receptions in heavy traffic, where linebackers are ready to tear you in two, Moore was making those catches you need from a veteran receiver, the reliability. In short routes, those third and short plays where the quarterback needs to know his receiver will be there no matter what, Moore was executing perfectly. The ability in contested catches, where the cornerback is on you and the safety is rocketing in, Moore was winning those physical battles that separate the men from the boys in this league. Everything you need from a veteran receiver was there. During those first weeks, I recorded videos myself telling you guys, this man was going to be crucial for Jaden Daniels' development. He was going to be that reliable escape valve every rookie quarterback needs when things get tough. But then came the preseason, and I tell you this with a completely broken heart. What I saw in those 3 games shattered me as a fan of this organization. 2 crucial drops against the New England Patriots in the first preseason game. And I'm not talking about tough passes, not impossible situations where you've got 3 defenders on you. I'm talking about routine passes any self-respecting receiver has to make with their eyes closed. And you know what I thought at that moment? Well, it's nerves. It's the first game. He'll settle down. Everyone has those moments where the butterflies in the stomach betray you. Even Jerry Rice had games where he wasn't perfect. But I was completely wrong about what was going on with Moore. In the last game against the Baltimore Ravens, Sam Hartman throws an absolutely perfect ball down the right sideline. A gorgeous spiral, exactly where it needed to be, arriving at the exact moment Moore had created separation from the cornerback. A golden opportunity to show he deserves a spot on this 53-man roster. A play that could have been 30, 40 yards easily if executed correctly. And what does Moore do? He drops it. The ball hits him directly in the hands. No wind excuses. No excuses of sun in his eyes. No defensive pressure excuses. A catch any practice squad receiver, any rookie from Division III would have made sleeping with one hand tied behind their back. After that catastrophic drop, Moore manages to make one 5-yard catch. 5 yards. As if that was going to make up for showing in the most important moment that he simply doesn't have the hands you need when you need them most. And you know why this hurts me so personally? Because we Washington Commanders fans know exactly what it means to waste opportunities. We've seen over the last 30 years how this organization let talent after talent slip away by not seizing the moment when it presents itself. we've seen how players who had all the potential in the world just crumbled under the pressure of playing in this city. And now that we finally have a serious management with Adam Peters, a man who knows exactly what he's doing, who's built winning rosters. In other organizations, we see a 31-year-old veteran simply not taking advantage of what's in front of him. A man who should be desperate to prove he deserves to be in this league at his age. Do you understand the responsibility a veteran receiver has in this situation? When you have Jaden Daniels waiting his turn as a franchise quarterback, when you have rookies and young players looking at you as an example of what it means to be a professional in this league, and you fail in the most important moments, that's Burgundy and Gold, baby. But on the wrong side, I believe Adam Peters made the decision before that pass hit the ground. A man who's been with the Cincinnati Bengals, who's been with the Baltimore Ravens, who knows what it's like to play in the AFC North where every play can decide between playoffs or staying home, comes here to Washington and can't make the basic plays when they matter most. The competition for receiving positions in Washington's group this year is brutal. Terry McLaurin is obviously untouchable. Jahan Dotson is establishing himself as a legitimate threat. And you have rookies and young players hungry fighting for every spot available. In such an environment, a veteran like Moore had to be perfect. He had to show his experience is worth more than the potential of younger guys. Do you really think Moore stays on the 53-man roster after this? Don't think Peters is going to waste a position on a man who has shown 3 games in a row that he can't execute under pressure. If that surprises you, wait to hear this. And when you thought we were done with the tough decisions, when you thought we'd seen everything this preseason had to show, here comes what will be the most painful yet obvious cut of this devastating preseason. Sam Hartman, the 24-year-old quarterback who arrived as an undrafted free agent after shining with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, a Notre Dame Fighting Irish, just sealed his fate in the most devastating and definitive way possible. Remember when we brought this lad in last? Yeah. I told you from day one on my channel, this guy has a strong arm. He has the football intelligence you need to play quarterback in the NFL. He's got the perfect height at 6'1", the ideal weight at 215 pounds, but he needs time to develop. He needs repetitions, he needs experience, he needs to face elite defenses to grow as a player. But time is exactly what you don't have in this league when you have Jaden Daniels waiting for his moment as the future of the franchise, and Marcus Mariota showing every day in practice why he's considered one of the best backup quarterbacks in the entire National Football League. During training camp, Hartman showed flashes of what he could be. His arm is legitimate. His pre-snap defense reading ability is better than most young quarterbacks I've seen. And his natural leadership was evident when he directed the huddle with the practice squad guys. But the preseason is where you separate the men from the boys, where you find out if you really have what it takes to play at the highest level of football against the Baltimore Ravens with Daniels and Mariota resting as they should to protect the health of our main quarterbacks. This was Hartman's the opportunity, his final audition, his moment to show he deserves to be in this organization, that he deserves one of those 53 spots that are so valuable in the NFL. And what did we see in that performance that will sink his career? A quarterback completely lost under pressure. A man who looked like he was playing his first college football game instead of competing for a position in the world's most competitive league. I tell you this, and you can check these stats yourselves. 70.58% completion rate sounds amazing on paper, right? Any casual fan would see that number and think Hartman had a great performance. But when you analyze those numbers in context, when you really see what happened in that game, the story is completely different and absolutely devastating. Hartman finished with 114 passing yards without a single touchdown. In modern NFL, where offenses are scoring 30, 40 points per game, where quarterbacks are routinely passing for 300 plus yards, finishing with 114 yards and 0 touchdowns is basically telling your coaching staff you don't belong at this level. But that's not the worst. 2 interceptions that weren't due to bad luck or weird deflections. 2 terrible decisions where Hartman threw the ball directly to defenders who were obviously in position to make the play. The first pick was a forced throw to the middle where the linebacker was clearly waiting for that route. The second was even worse. a late ball toward the sideline where the cornerback had time to write a letter to his mom before intercepting. And as if 2 interceptions weren't enough to destroy any hope of making the roster, Hartman lost a fumble when pressure came. I'm not talking about a spectacular strip sack where an elite pass rusher rips the ball from him. I'm talking about a quarterback who didn't protect the ball when he knew pressure was coming. The final result, a passer rating of 49.3. 49.3. To put that into perspective, in modern NFL, a passer rating below 60 is considered terrible. Hartman achieved a 49.3, which is in the territory of please cut me from the team immediately. And you know what frustrated me the most watching that game? The missed opportunities that could have completely changed the narrative. Chris Moore dropped that long pass I mentioned in the first piece of news, but even if Moore had made that catch, Hartman had shown over 55 minutes of play that he simply can't execute when the lights come on and pressure rises. Hartman looked hesitant in the pocket, as if he were waiting for something bad to happen instead of actively looking to make a positive play. There's no speed in his throws, especially when he needs to go to the sides of the field where you need zip on the ball to get there before the coverage closes. The game seemed to move too fast for him, as if you were watching everything in slow motion while everyone else was playing at normal speed. And you know what's the most frustrating about all this? That Hartman has a close relationship with Jaden Daniels. These two developed a real chemistry during training camp, studying film together, working on timing routes after practice, building the trust you need between quarterbacks in an organization. That chemistry could have been incredibly valuable for the development of our franchise quarterback. But when the game speeds up, when the stadium lights come on, when there are fans screaming and elite defenses trying to take his head off, Hartman looks like a college quarterback playing against NFL men. And that's a gap you can't close with good intentions or personal relationships. Josh Johnson hasn't shined much either when he's had opportunities with the first teams, but at least Johnson has the experience of being in pressure situations. Hartman, at 24 years, still seems to be learning the basics about how to handle a professional offense under pressure. I believe Adam Peters made a phone call to Hartman before they left the stadium. This cut will hurt because Hartman is genuinely a good guy, a hard-working professional who studies film, who does everything right off the field. But in this ruthless league, it doesn't matter how good a person you are. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in the weight room or the classroom if you can't execute when it matters. And in 3 preseason games, during the only opportunities he had to show he belongs at this level, this man consistently showed he doesn't have what it takes to be a successful quarterback in the National Football League. Did you really think Hartman was going to survive these cuts after what we saw? Do you think Peters is going to stake the franchise's future on a quarterback who crumbles every time pressure mounts? But that's nothing. Absolutely nothing compared to what's coming. And if you thought that was all, if you believed we covered all the explosive decisions of this preseason, you're completely crazy. Because Adam Peters is about to make a decision that could be revolutionary for this franchise. A move that shows exactly why this man is different from anything we've had before in Washington's front office. After 30 years of watching this organization make decisions out of fear, our tradition, that's how things have always been done in the NFL. Peters is about to do something that requires real steely resolve. Cut both Sam Hartman and Josh Johnson from the 53-man roster, leaving this team with only 2 quarterbacks on the active roster. And you know why this is absolutely brilliant and completely revolutionary. Because Peters gets something previous administrations of Washington, something Dan Snyder and his circus of incompetence never understood. When you have Jaden Daniels as your future franchise quarterback and Marcus Mariota as one of the best backup quarterbacks in the entire league, you don't need to waste a valuable roster position on a third quarterback who has repeatedly shown he can't execute when it matters. Let's analyze the brutal numbers from this preseason that make this decision not just smart, but mandatory. In 3 preseason games, with Hartman and Johnson handling most of the snaps because Daniels and Mariota were rightly resting, this offense scored a pathetic total of 38 points. 38 points in 3 full games. To put that in perspective, the average points per game in the NFL last season was about 22 points. These 2 quarterbacks playing against second and third line defenses that weren't putting their best players at risk averaged 12.7 points per game. That's more than 40% below the league average. 3 double-digit losses. I'm not talking about close games where things were decided in the final minutes. I'm talking about thrashings where the result was never in doubt after the first quarter. Games where our backup quarterbacks look completely overwhelmed by situations that should be routine for any professional. Do you really want either of these quarterbacks to step into a game that matters during the regular season? Do you want to gamble a crucial victory, potentially a playoff opportunity, on men who have shown 3 games in a row that they crumble under the slightest pressure? It can't be. Peters is saying something revolutionary. We're going to bet completely on our 2 main quarterbacks. And if we need a third one for absolute emergency, we're going to bring someone from the practice squad or free market who can really execute when needed. This is the winning mentality we desperately needed in Washington for the last 3 decades. While Jerry Jones in Dallas clings to sentimental decisions, keeping players out of nostalgia instead of production, while the Philadelphia Eagles still think that with Jalen Hurts they have everything figured out but keep mediocre backups who don't add real value to the roster, we here in Washington are making smart moves based on real results. And you know what's the most brilliant thing about Peters' strategy? That when all the other 31 teams make their cuts Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll likely have significantly better options available in the free market. Teams are going to cut veteran quarterbacks who have proven they can play at this level, quarterbacks with real experience in pressure situations. Peters is playing 3-dimensional chess while all the other general managers are playing checkers. He's maximizing every roster position for talent that can truly contribute to victories, instead of wasting spots on players who are only there for security but don't provide real security. Think about this. If Jaden Daniels is injured during the regular season, do you really trust more in Sam Hartman with his passer rating of 49.3 and his multiple turnovers, or in Marcus Mariota, a proven veteran who's won games as a starter in this league? The answer is obvious. And if both Daniels and Mariota were out due to simultaneous injuries, which would be incredibly rare, Peters can bring in a quarterback from the practice squad who's been learning Cliff Kingsbury's system for months, or sign an available veteran with real experience executing complex offenses under pressure. Tell you this decision shows we finally have a general manager who understands that in modern NFL, you can't waste roster positions out of blind loyalty or a hypothetical just in case. Each of those 53 spots has to be earned day in and day out, has to be deserved through real production in real situations. The quarterback position is too important to keep dead weight. If you can't execute when needed, if you can't handle the basic pressure of a preseason game, then you don't deserve to take a position that could go to a penalty-killing linebacker, a safety playing special teams, an offensive lineman who can play multiple positions. Peters' philosophy is exactly what separates winning organizations from mediocre teams. The New England Patriots during their dynasty never kept players for sentiment. The Pittsburgh Steelers cut team legends when they could no longer produce. The Kansas City Chiefs constantly optimize their roster to maximize useful talent. Do you really think Peters is going to settle for keeping quarterbacks who have repeatedly shown they can't execute when the lights come on? Do you think a man who's helped build playoff rosters is going to waste valuable positions on players who contribute only in theory but not in reality? Peters understands something fundamental. The only reason to have a third quarterback is if he can really come in and win games when needed. If that person can't do that, then that roster position is better used on a player who can contribute on special teams, can play multiple positions, can be a real difference in specific situations. When we connect these 3 pieces of news, when we see the complete picture of what's happening in Washington, a clear image emerges of an organization that is finally making decisions based on real meritocracy instead of hopes and traditions. Chris Moore, a 31-year-old veteran with experience in winning organizations, couldn't execute in the most important moments of his final audition. Sam Hartman, a young quarterback with theoretical potential, crumbled every time he faced real pressure. And Adam Peters is responding to these failures with a revolutionary decision that prioritizes excellence over sentimentality. This is the difference between being mediocre for decades and building a winning culture. Peters isn't keeping players because they could be useful someday. He's building a roster where every man who wears the burgundy and gold uniform has earned the right to be there through superior production. Let's recap what we've just analyzed in depth. Moore wasted the opportunity of a lifetime when he needed it most. Hartman sealed his fate with performances that put him far below the NFL standard, and Peters is about to make a historic move that could revolutionize how this organization handles roster development. But this is just the beginning, my Burgundy and Gold people. I guarantee that in the next 48 hours, we'll have more explosive news about these cuts. Adam Peters is far from done making devastating moves. And you can't miss what's coming in the next few days when the other 31 teams make their final cuts. We're going to see players available we never thought would be in the free market. We're going to see Peters make moves no one anticipates. We're going to watch this organization continue transforming from a mediocre franchise to a legitimate contender. Like this, if you think Peters is making the right decisions for the future of this franchise, subscribe. If you want to be part of this family that lives and breathes burgundy and gold like we do every day. Because here on this channel, we're a real family, a community that understands what it means to be a fan of the Washington Commanders in this historic city where football is more than a sport, it's a religion. Share this video with all your Commanders. Fan friends, because this explosive information needs to reach our entire community. Everyone needs to understand the magnitude of what's going on in Ashburn. Are you ready to see Peters completely transform this roster in the coming days? Do you think these devastating cuts will mark the start of a new golden era in Washington? Do you believe we finally have the general manager who can bring us back to national relevance? Let me know in the comments what you think about these explosive decisions. I want to hear your opinions, your predictions, your hopes for what's coming. Because this channel is our space to analyze, debate, and celebrate everything to do with our beloved Washington Commanders. And remember, no matter what happens in the coming days, no matter which players stay or go, we are still here supporting our team with the same passion we've had for all these decades. Hail to the Redskins, baby! Burgundy and gold until I die. Catch you in the next video with more explosive news. Don't miss it.